Boldwood presents Catch a Falling Star, written by Lyra Carter and read by Elliot Francis and Hannah Genesius. Prologue. Lyra. That night, 7 years ago. "You're here!" my best friend Cammy bellows across the sound of hundreds of drunk undergrads. It's standing room only in the music venue in Newcastle upon Tyne, where we go to uni. She reaches out a hand and drags me through the crowd to the spot she's got us at the very front and centre of the stage. We're waiting for the main act, rock band, my favourite band, the Hand-Me-Downs. We've had tickets for nearly a year, and in that time the band has skyrocketed. Their next tour won't be 2,000 capacity venues. It will be arenas and stadiums. "So," Cammy says, looking to the ceiling, "did you do it?" I bite my lip from a combination of nervousness and excitement. Once I say it out loud, it will be real. "You are no longer looking at a third-year med student, but a budding documentary photographer. I quit. Oh my God, Lyra, this is huge. You finally made a decision about your own life." I don't get to tell her that the decision will be severely life-shortening, since my parents are going to kill me when they find out, because the lights dim to near darkness. There's movement on the stage. Jay, the drummer, comes out first, and my own scream is drowned out by the many others in the space. Once he's settled on his stool and making himself look busy checking his kit, Trev, one of the guitarists, comes out, waving like he's too cool for school. He kind of is. And sets up next to a bass guitar and an electric guitar. I deafen my own ears when brothers Guy and Scott come onto the stage together. Scott walks up to the standing microphone, and as the stage lights turn on, he speaks to the crowd. "Alright, Newcastle, it's good to be home." But I don't watch him, because I'm too focused on Guy, the songwriter, with the most distinct voice I've heard. He comes to stand behind a microphone right in front of me and slips the strap of an acoustic six-string around his neck. He sets about checking the tuning of his guitar as my entire limbic system tunes into him. And right after Scott has introduced the first song, it's Guy who leans into his microphone and counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. I swear my heart beats to his rhythm. The atmosphere is electric, the air heavy with sweat, the floor vibrating in time to the low frequency of the bass guitar booming out of the amplifier. As Scott's youthful yet rocky voice sings out, "I'm addicted to you," I let my head fall back. My arms swish around uncoordinatedly. My hips twist and turn. Free. If I let myself, I could be terrified. Terrified of telling my parents that all the money they've spent on private education and extra tuition has been for nothing. I won't be following in their footsteps. But for one night, I'm going to enjoy the not knowing. The excitement of having no clue what comes next, the relief of the unrelenting pressure to be someone I'm not, disappearing. I dance through the first set and 2 beers, occasionally getting shoved by fellow groovers and not caring about any of it, until I'm pulled from my reverie by the Geordie accent of Guy Walker. "We are gonna bring down the tempo with this next one. It's called You and Me." I brace myself for my favourite of the band's songs, one of the few Guy performs. His pitch is low, his voice gravelly in the sexiest of ways. I watch his fingers move over the strings of his guitar, the rest of the band silent. His eyes are closed when that first note comes. It hits my ear, then travels the rest of my body like a surge of energy. My heart beats faster, my skin ignites, the way I knew it would hearing him in person, this close. What I'm not prepared for is when he opens his eyes, he isn't looking into the distance. Across the crowd of people here to listen to him, he's looking right at me, stilling me, stealing the air from my chest. It's like the only person he can see beyond the blinding stage lights is me, as if the words he sings and the chords he strums are meant for my ears. There's just you and me. Forget all these people. Because it makes no sense, but I can't tear my eyes away from you. As the beat picks up, his strumming becomes fiercer, the drums kick in, then the entire band is playing the chorus of the song he wrote. It's as if the faint curve at one side of his mouth is an inside message between us, like it's the start of a smile, of something, a promise. The song moves into another and another, the band members stopping between tracks to drink from bottles of beer on the stage and accept towels from surreptitious stage staff. I take my camera out of my bag and snap a few shots of the night. Then, as I get back to dancing, the most bizarre thing happens. A man emerges from backstage and approaches me. Guy wants to know if you'll join him backstage once the lads are finished. He's a big man. Huge. Neck and arms tattooed and bulging beneath his black t-shirt, kind of big. He has the trademark accent of someone who was born and raised in the deepest, darkest tune. As for the tone of his voice, it's completely disinterested, as if he's asked this question of many girls, many times before. But this is Guy, from the hand-me-downs, so rightly I'm flattered. On a Lyra favourable interpretation, technically he did just sing to me, too. Regardless, I am of course going to say, "She'll be there," Cammy tells the big dude, leaning across me to be heard. Cammy, no. "Relax, it's not like you're committing to having his babies," Cammy yells, making me eye the stage as if Guy can actually hear her over the sound of his band rocking out. "What are you saying? Yes or no?" the Hulk presses. As he does, Guy's lips curve into that knicker-melting, lopsided grin again, and I nod, not to the big guy, or Cammy, or myself, but to Guy. And half an hour later, after the band has played their last song and thanked the crowd, my cardiovascular system might explode. This is it. I'm going to meet the man of my dreams. "How then, Flower?" The Hulk is back, and he's created a path in the crowd to get me to the backstage door. I feel sick. Please God, don't let me throw up on Guy Walker. "Enjoy!" Cammy sings, as I give her the wide-eyed look of a deer caught in headlights, because that is exactly how I feel. I follow along a corridor that's buzzing with activity, bodies shifting around with earpieces in, some people who look like press, holding cameras and microphones. I feel as if everyone in the corridor can see in my pink cheeks that I'm a fangirl, and I'm about to meet my crush. The big man leads me to a dressing room that actually has the hand-me-downs written on a plaque on the door, with a gold star above it. "Give 'em a minute. They are still changing," he tells me. I wonder how he knows, until he taps the small black bud in his ear. Feeling too awkward to make conversation with this man who clearly isn't interested in what I have to say, and not daring to look up to the other eyes in the corridor that might be mocking me, I take my phone from my bag. "Need pictures, unless the lads say it's all right," the big man tells me. "Oh, no, I wasn't." I'm saved from myself by my sister's name lighting up the screen of my phone. Olivia. At this time. "Hey, is everything okay?" I ask instinctively, speaking into my handset while holding my free hand to my opposite ear. "No? Lyra, I don't know how to say this." I know, as my stomach falls into the floor, that it's bad. Bad news is the only kind that can't wait at this time of night. Bad news is what happens when my parents are on call and their pagers go off. As my sister tells me, "It's Dad?" I'm already backing away from the hand-me-downs dressing room, and right before I turn to leave, I see the man of my dreams open the door. Suddenly, nothing seems real. "Wait, I don't even know your name," a voice I could pick out of a packed concert hall says. His words fall on my back as I run. To where? Into what? I've no idea. But my sister is begging me down the line. "Please, come." Chapter 1. Lyra. April 2025. Trapped in a lift with a naked butler. As I take the last of my bags from the boot of my car and push it shut, I'm still humming to the tune of the hand-me-downs song that was playing on my drive into the city. It always reminds me of nights out at uni with Cammy. I miss her. Sighing, I gather my camera, a handbag, a half-eaten box of tacos, and a hen party gift. Who even hires a professional photographer for their hen party? Isn't there some kind of rule? What happens on the hen stays on the hen. There were no parking spaces on the street outside Charlotte's apartment building, so I'm going to have to lug everything down to the quayside from Deansgate car park, 10 minutes away. Charlotte is my older sister's best friend. She used to be mine, when we went to school together, but now that my sister and Charlotte are both doctors at the same hospital and I'm just a wedding photographer, things have changed. When I step out of the multi-storey car park, I'm hit by wind whipping up from the River Tyne, dragging my hair loose from my long braid. It's Newcastle upon Tyne, the north bloody east of England, and it's freezing outside. Yet I'm a flushed and windswept mess by the time I reach the old stone conversion. Great. Dishevelled is precisely the impression I'm going for. To add insult to injury, I'm not even being paid for tonight. My sister is Charlotte's bridesmaid for her wedding in May and has organised tonight, roping me in for free. I guess she's hoping that Charlotte will similarly do something nice for her when she gets married in September. Honestly, I would much rather be at home, in my loungewear, writing articles about people I've made up that will never be published, drowning in thick, creamy hot chocolate. Instead, I struggle through the main entrance of Phoenix House, fighting the weather and the heavy door as I nudge, kick, and bump my way inside, irritated that I even agreed to be here at all. I'll do just about anything to avoid conflict, and oft-times that means doing things I have zero desire to do. As the door closes, I'm assaulted by a potent smell of fresh paint in the foyer and can see multiple wet paint signs, one of which is covering the door to the staircase. Not that I had any intention of carrying this stuff up to Charlotte's duplex penthouse. "Can you hold that, please?" I call as the doors to the lift are just about closing, across a man I can barely make out, except to note he has a significant dark beard and he's dressed entirely in black. The doors close, and I'm about to mutter how I feel about that when they reopen, and he comes my way. "Let me help you," he says, voice deep, raspy and smooth all at once, such a distinct combination. It makes me look from my baggage to him, briefly finding dark blue eyes on me. Then he relieves me of my tacos takeaway box and my heavy over-shoulder camera case. "Thank you so much. You don't have to help," I tell him, a little discombobulated by that voice. Or maybe just the wind? The walk? The very fact of being at the hen party of an ex-friend of mine in the capacity of no one important. "I'm going up in the lift anyway. It's no hardship." I consider my alternative, and though I hate to put people out, I tell him, "Okay, thank you." Inside the elevator, I notice 2 one-litre bottles of liquor, gold-flecked tequila, I think, resting on the floor. Simultaneously, I realise that, despite the really quite nice, woody, peppery aftershave the bearded man is wearing, there's a resounding stench of fish and chipotle coming from my food box. We both reach for the elevator buttons at the same time, him probably keen to get away from the smell as quickly as possible. If it wasn't for the fact he looks a little untidy and like a potential alcoholic, I wouldn't mind hanging around his voice and scent. It would be a nice way to procrastinate. "Sorry, you go," I tell him. He nods, pressing the button for the 4th floor. "Where are you headed?" "4th too, actually. Thank you." He hesitates, scrutinising me from head to toe. At least, it feels as if he is. As he does so, I stare back, finding that beneath the bushy beard, he could be quite handsome, actually. But I'm pretty sure that he's not having similar thoughts about me, as a line forms between his eyebrows. In fact, his reaction makes me check myself in the mirrored walls surrounding us. Oh, God. I don't blame him for staring. I quickly run my fingers through my frizzy hair that was blow-dried smooth when I left home. My cheeks are rosy, and I have panda eyes from the bit of eye makeup I'm wearing. As I'm frantically wiping my face, the lift doors close, but it stutters and chugs into action so hard that it rocks me back against the wall. "Whoa," the stranger says, casting his arms out wide and gripping onto the handrail. As the movement of the carriage smooths out, the stranger's hold doesn't let up. He's rigid, my camera bag still slung across his shoulder. My unprofessional guess is he's claustrophobic. I side-eye him. He looks tired, in that way people do when they have small children or otherwise carry the world on their shoulders. Figuratively, obviously. I know because it's how I've often seen my reflection. I don't have kids. But, and not that I'm staring, because that would make what is already one of the most hideously uncomfortable activities in life, riding in a confined space with a stranger, even more awkward, but this tired man is really quite attractive, in a rugged, sort of unkempt but maybe intentionally messed up dark hair masculine kind of way. This, despite the stiffness in his shoulders and the fact he's holding his breath, either because he's terrified of small, confined spaces or because my fish tacos stink. As I'm wondering whether to explain the stench, the stuttering of the lift car returns and morphs into something more like chugging. With a creak and a loud crack, the lift jolts to a stop. The lights go out for a split second, and then there's a click before they come back on, dimmer than before. I glance up to the dial above the door and see that we're at the 3rd floor, yet the doors aren't opening. What the? The man unfreezes, dropping my camera bag, thankfully padded. He darts forward, fiercely fingering the open door button. Are we stuck? Is the lift stuck? He shifts to face me as if I have the answer. I don't know, I offer unhelpfully. Try pressing the numbers? We end up both pressing the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing happens. Even through his thick coat, I can see his chest rising and falling. He's freaking out. I'm sure it's just a glitch in the mechanics, I say, trying to sound calm. Let's hit the bell. There isn't one. Or the emergency button? I press it and an alarm rings, though in my unqualified lift handling opinion, not nearly loud enough. Certainly not loud enough for a hen party with music playing to hear. Then it goes off. Just like that. The noise stops and I'm thinking, oh. The stranger I'm trapped with says, I don't have any phone signal. Do you? I fumble through my bag on the floor, knowing I won't have, but not wanting to seem impolite. Not even a bar, I tell him, when I locate my own device. As I glance up from my crouched position, I notice the man's skin looks grey and clammy. His breathing is faster than Usain Bolt's after a record-breaking sprint. It won't be long before someone comes, I reason. Those alarms route through to the emergency services, so the fire brigade will be here soon. I genuinely have no idea if this is a thing. Plus, I'm on my way to a hen party. Someone is bound to try to use the lift any minute. I take off my thick knit cardigan and place it on the floor, coming to sit, watching the man and hoping he'll do the same. It might help him relax. Thankfully, he follows my lead, dropping to his bum opposite me. I lean forwards and hold out my hand. I'm Lyra. He scrutinises my gesture, then frowns at me but shakes my hand anyway. Guy. Nice to meet you, Guy. I decide to waive the grumpy tone on account of his anxiety. We fall into an uncomfortable silence, one that simultaneously reminds me of my stinky food box and gives me time to determine that, unluckily, given the smell of fish, this man isn't just handsome, he's really bloody hot. And familiar. Oddly familiar, though. I can't place him. Maybe I've photographed him before. I surreptitiously glance at his ring finger. Not married, or doesn't wear a band. Sweat beads are forming on his brow, and his grey pallor has shifted to rosy cheeks. I want to state the obvious. Take off your coat. But I don't know Guy, so I refrain. Instead, I try to distract him. Do you live here, or are you visiting? Visiting. Great. Lovely. We fall silent again. Tough crowd. Then Guy pulls out the stop on one of his liquor bottles and takes a long swig. Whoa there, cowboy. Drink? He asks, holding out the bottle, allowing me to see the tequila label on the front. I've only ever seen one other person drink tequila like that, and not since Cammy at university. Not until tonight. I'm good, thank you. I'm driving. I reach for my food box. But this is a serendipitous false imprisonment, because nothing goes better with tequila than tacos. I lift the lid on the food, which has been 2/3 consumed, with 4 empty taco holders to show for it. I have 2 fish tacos looking for a good home. Would you like them? He scrutinises the offering, nose twitching. That's the smell. Now my cheeks are rosy. Yes. My dinner, rather than me. I titter awkwardly. I can't eat your dinner, he says, simply frowning in the face of my discomfort. I shrug, trying not to seem like a teenage girl in front of the first boy she ever found cute. Fine. But it would benefit us both. And the planet. He raises one eyebrow, an intersection between mockery and charm. I'll otherwise throw them away when we get out of here, which I now realise I ought to have done on the walk here. I was only bringing them inside to put them in the bin and stop my car from stinking. I got a new jelly bean freshener yesterday and gave Penelope her annual clean. So you'd be supporting sustainability and preventing us from suffering a really smelly, I check my watch, 24 minutes? 24, he asks, eyes, striking eyes, widening. At worst, I'm quick to add. By my reckoning, we've been stopped for 6 minutes already, and I read once that the absolute longest it takes for any lift stall to be rectified is 30 minutes. I've made that up entirely, but Guy's inhalations are no longer visible from under his coat. His eyes meet mine, and his expression softens in a way that's uncommonly hypnotic. I don't think I'll be around long enough to see the demise of the planet, he tells me finally, breaking away from my stare. But I won't say no to a taco. He reaches into the box and takes the Mexican bite. The box says mixed. You ate the meat and veg and left both fish. It isn't a question, and he doesn't seem overly perturbed as he takes a ginormous mouthful of food. I find fish in tortilla ick, I explain, setting the takeaway down closer to him. It's the texture combo. It's my version of long nails being scraped down a blackboard. He takes the other half in one more mouthful and chews, watching me until his orifice is clear. Why order a mixed box if you don't like fish? Because I couldn't decide between veggie and pork per bill. A mixed box of 6 was cheaper than 2 separate boxes of pork and veg. It made economic sense. Yet went against your mission to save the world, 2 fish tacos at a time. Forcing myself to scowl, I tell him, a girl can go off a man pretty quickly, you know. He scoffs, though character lines draw on one side of his mouth, and something tells me this man is not often in good spirits. I'm not complaining, he says, through a mouthful of the second taco. Cold fish tacos happen to be my favourite meal. I can never unsee the half-chewed food you just showed me. He scoffs again, yet takes another bite of fish before replying. I bet your parents brought you up to empty your mouth before you speak. He's really getting my hackles up. Maybe because I can hear the voice of my mum telling me exactly that. Chew your food before you speak, Lyra Clarkson. You're not an animal. Well, beggars can't be choosers, I tell him huffily. He takes another unbelievable swig of tequila. Aye, but cheaper for you to just make a decision next time. You're lucky to have fallen into this entrapment so that I can spare the environment your waste. For your information, I'm not very good at making decisions. I'm appalling, in fact. My mind spins so quickly with every disastrous decision I've made in my 28 years, but I always come back to the same one, the same night. They tend to have far-reaching repercussions. Sorry, that was an overshare. It's the stress of our demise. He stares for too long before saying, It's a box of tacos, Lyra. I don't know why, but the sound of my name leaving his husky voice causes a figurative puncture in my lungs. There's something about that voice, his face, a feeling of déjà vu. I can't put a finger on it, but I think he reminds me of... Has anyone ever told you look like... Never mind. It's silly. He stares at me as if he's looking beyond my eyes, somewhere deeper. Go on, he croaks. Guy. Guy Walker. He continues to bore holes into me, unblinking. You know, from the band. The hand-me-downs. He doesn't speak, but stands, towering above me where I'm still sitting on the lift floor. He draws down the zip of his coat, but his height and presence are making me nervous. So I do what I tend to do when I'm nervous. Talk. He was the guitarist. People don't remember him as well as his brother, Scott. I guess because he notoriously never did interviews and he wasn't on social media. My words are coming faster as his zip comes lower. Then he wrote, or co-wrote, nearly all their songs. Definitely the best ones. He's an incredible song. Holy Moses. As he slides his coat down his arms, my mouth proverbially, perhaps literally, falls to the floor with the garment, because beneath it is a torso, a muscly torso, with tattoos stretching across his shoulders and up his neck from his back, and it's exposed. I mean, exposed, like naked, but for a dicky bow around his neck and matching cuffs at his wrists. And bloody hell, he has the kind of body only people like Glenn Powell and Chris Hemsworth and Ryan Gosling and like other really fit men have. I follow the lines of his lower abs into the waistband of his black trousers. Sorry, I'm babbling. Anyway, sorry, clearly not. You're not, the Guy, Guy Walker, even though your name is Guy, funny coincidence, because you're a hen party, of course. What are you, a stripper? He slips back down to his hunkers, his proximity suddenly overwhelming in this tiny box, his feet touching mine, his body, his very near-naked body, is very close to me. Is there a fire under my backside? It's suddenly insanely hot in here. I subtly fan my face, which does nothing to alleviate the hotness, the heat, the bloody inferno. And what was my question? I'm a naked butler, he tells me, straight-faced, as if this very bizarre scenario that's making my knickers protest beneath what suddenly feels like a primary school teacher's dress is not only real but entirely normal, as if I'm not going to wake up any moment. And for some reason, Dream Me, who would be much more confident, much more brazen, because she doesn't have real life to face on the other side of these lift doors, says, almost. Not quite. But I am real, and this is not a dream. I know because my words bring the kind of colour to my cheeks that means Guy, the almost naked butler, is probably thinking he's staring at a cooked red lobster right now. As if the gods of anti-mortification are staring down on me, the lift jerks. The abrupt movement knocks us both off balance as the cart recommences its ascent to the 4th floor, saving me from myself.
Chapter 2. Guy. April 2025. At the hen party. A technical glitch. That's the explanation the engineer gave Lyra and me when he greeted us on the top floor. Sorry, he'd said, wholly unconvincingly. Then he looked at my semi-nude form, the 2 bottles of tequila and empty taco box, winked at Lyra and told us, "Doesn't look like it was too stressful." What would he know? I was on the verge of meltdown and would have had an anxiety attack if it hadn't been for the random musings and non-stop talking of my indecisive, sanctimonious fellow prisoner. Funny though, now that we've been freed and we're standing at the same door, listening to the Spice Girls playing from inside and waiting to be welcomed to the hen party I have no desire to be at, she's stopped talking. In fact, she's worrying her lip, holding on to the bag slung across her shoulder. She's staring at the apartment door as it's opened by a red-haired woman wearing a short sparkly dress and skyscraper heels. "Lyra, hi! You're later than I thought. Did you get lost?" Nice way to make your guests feel welcome. "Lift problems," Lyra says, smiling gently, apologetically. "It jammed." "Oh?" the redhead says. Then she turns to me, eyeing me from head to toes, and goes back up again like I'm a piece of meat. I guess that is what I'm getting paid to be, but it makes me feel like even more of a prat than I already did, if that's possible. "I assume that's why you're late too?" she asks me, not introducing herself, not even saying hello. "Could you head to the kitchen? People are having to make their own drinks." I run my tongue along my teeth, close to needing to bite it to stop me retorting. But I grin. "Kill them with kindness," Dave told me. This is my job now. Position: naked twat. Date of employment: April 2025 to present. Qualifications: none. Soft skills: reluctantly sociable recluse. "I'll get on it," I say through my drawn-up lips. I hand her the unopened bottle of tequila, the one that's actually full of tequila, as opposed to mine, which has been emptied and refilled with water. "This is for you, to spice things up." I hate myself for it, but I wink, because that's my role tonight. Cheeky chappy, confident but not cocksure. Paid to flirt and get the party started. paid to disperse with any last trace of dignity I'd been clinging on to. Red takes it and inspects the label. Actually, I'm not the bride. I'm just a bridesmaid. But I'm sure this will get the party going. Like Lyra, Red has a hint of a northeast accent. It's like nondescript rich girl meets northeast twang. I can't help wondering, if all the guests are this uppity, who the hell misjudged so badly that they arranged a naked butler? She steps back from the door, and I gesture for Lyra to head inside before me, oddly, less comfortable without her next to me. The near stranger, who is uncannily familiar. Maybe in the way a girl next door is, or something. I'm not sure. An old Sugar Babes track is playing now, and there are probably 24 women in clubbing attire. Not at all dressed sweetly like Lyra, mingling in the red brick walls of the loft-style apartment. The entire bottom floor of the duplex is open plan, a great social space, and it's twinkling with tea lights and loads of sparkling stuff. Streamers, disco balls, confetti. In the middle of it all, hand over her mouth as she giggles, her eyes on me, is an attractive woman wearing a white dress, veil and tiara that make her look like a Vegas bride. Wild guess. She's Charlotte, the bride-to-be. I set my bags by the door, cringing internally as I turn my ass to the room, take off my trainers and drop my trousers, leaving my modesty preserved only by a pair of tight-fitting boxers and a short apron. Then, I make my way to the kitchen against a soundtrack of catcalls and wolf whistles. A few already drunk hands grope my pecs. I feel cheap and stupid, rather than flattered by the attention. There've been plenty of headlines written about me in the past, and I can imagine what the rags would say about me now. How the mighty fall hard, and never managed to get back up. My phone buzzes in my back pocket as I set about locating things in the kitchen to mix cocktails. Dave.
You're at a party with a group of horny women. Let 'em have the wicked way with you, or don't. But whatever you do it with a smile on your face. And remember, it's my reputation at stake.
For him, the message is almost heartfelt. He's never been a man to beat around the bush. I look like a fucking muppet, Dave. I gripe into my phone, sending him a voice note in response.
Howie, man, you can't look that bad. Send me a selfie.
He fires back. What? So you can roll it out whenever you need to bribe me into going along with one of your idiotic ideas? I'm shaking my head as I speak into my phone, as subtly as I can. You owe me for this, big fella.
Oh, yeah? You were the one who begged me for a job,
Dave replies. He's got me there. I was desperate. I type this time.
And I'm your saviour, fella. Have a good night. Try not to sleep with any of the hens, especially the bride. I can tell you from experience, it's not good for business.
I shoved my phone into my apron. I'm not going to sleep with anyone at the hen party. Then again, maybe that would make this night tolerable, because I don't think anything could make it worse. How did I get here? But I know exactly how I got here. I had no job. I had no money, which really goes hand in hand with the first problem. I was forced to move back to Newcastle from London because of the second problem. And my old mate and band manager Dave was the only person who threw me a lifeline. So here I am, semi-naked, utilising the only option I have available. As I'm mixing cocktails with ingredients that have been bought in for the purpose, dropped off by Dave or one of his staff earlier today, I feel greedy eyes on me. I want to tell them it's only good for one night. But I think that might be the intention. Look, tease, flirt, then go back to their respectable other halves. Having a group of people staring at me doesn't bother me much. I once had tens of thousands of people staring at me as I performed with the band at festivals, on arena stages, even stadiums at the end. What bothers me is that these people see me for what I am these days, talentless and pointless. Back in the day, crowds sang along to my lyrics. They danced to the rhythm of my guitar. What's worse is, I don't want to remember those days. I don't want to think about my time in the band, about Scott and how I let him down. Let everyone down. It was a close shave in the lift. Lyra knew it was me, that I am the man behind the songs the hand-me-downs played. Now, my hair is shaggier. I have a beard rather than gruff. My face is older, but the way she looked at me, it was as if she knew me. The reason I know she doesn't is because she's sweet. I don't know and never have known sweet girls. I seek her out now, amongst the increasingly rowdy group of women. When I do, I find her looking my way, a large camera around her neck and held between her hands. She doesn't look away, or smile, or react at all really. It makes me swallow so hard against something building in my throat. Something that I think could be embarrassment. Mortification even. She has big dark brown irises, outlined with thick black. So unusual that in the lift, I lost myself to them for a moment, fascinated. She has naturally full lips, soft pink beneath clear gloss. Long hair, as dark as her irises flowed down the back of her pretty dress and thick knitted cardigan. It's not as if I was noticing in the lift, but there was very little space, and very little else to concentrate on, besides the fact it felt like my life was hanging by a cord. In fact, the most terrifying moment was her reminding me that I was once someone to people. God, this job could be a disaster. Will people know who I am? Who I was? I raise my cocktail shaker to her. Want one? Lyra shakes her head, then lets a camera dangle from her neck brace and gives me the international gesture for driving. So, she's here working as a photographer. I guess that explains the mismatch of her outfit to the others in the room. I finish mixing and pour 2 cosmopolitan cocktails. This is going to be a fairly inefficient use of my time. Hopefully, most women want Prosecco. Lyra! My attention is dragged to a woman who looks a lot like Lyra, only with salon-perfected hair and a face full of shimmering makeup. She's waving over my fellow lift captive to where she's holding court on a sofa with 4 other hens. Lyra, do you remember that time when Joshua came to our house for Valentine's Day? She almost sings the name Joshua, as if she's been taught to in finishing school. Lyra looks up from her camera. Oh, yeah. She gives a short laugh, clearly uncomfortable, but smiling for, best guess, her sister's benefit. So, Joshua came to our house on Valentine's Day. His mum dropped him off in their Bentley, and Joshua got out of the back wearing a shirt and chinos and holding a giant stuffed dog. I mean, enormous. Oh, one of the other women's coos. Olivia, that's adorable. Oh, he wasn't calling on me, Olivia says, casting a look across her shoulder to Lyra and beckoning her over. Lyra obliges, making her way across the room as Olivia continues the story and I eavesdrop, multitasking by filling shot glasses with tequila. He was coming to see Lyra. Gasps ensue from a rapt audience. It's true, isn't it, Lyra? Lyra nods. I don't really know her, but I find myself wanting to get her out of here, away from her sister's performance. Mum answered the door, but Lyra and I had been watching from our bedroom window. Of course, Mum and Dad loved Joshua. Even then. Anyway, Mum called for Lyra to come downstairs, so naturally, I followed, and when we got downstairs, Joshua was staring at me. Then he asked, "Is this your sister?" to Lyra. Didn't he, Lyra? She stands by the group, but doesn't go to sit. I load 10 full shot glasses onto a tray. Long story short, it was me who ended up with a giant stuffed toy. And now, 13 years later, Joshua and I are both doctors in the same hospital and engaged to be married at Earl's Castle in September. Olivia holds up a left hand and wiggles a ring finger. A significant rock catches the light and makes for more dazzle than disco balls. How do you feel about that, Lyra? One of the group asks. Poof, she says, waving a hand. Joshua and I were 13 or 14 then. We would never have lasted. Plus, he and Livy are perfect for each other. Both smart, both doctors, both beautiful. Olivia beams. She relishes being complimented, I can tell. But I'm far more interested in why she wants to belittle her sister. You were nearly a doctor, sort of. I dropped out of medicine at the end of my 3rd year of uni, Lyra explains, as if she needs to. It wasn't for me. I don't blame you, Red says. It's such a stressful job, and the hours we all work are ridiculous. The effort it took to all be in the same room for a few hours tonight was huge. I'd love a job like yours, another hen says. I mean, no one is going to die if you take a bad picture. This woman looks around the group and reaches for a carrot stick from a platter on a coffee table in front of her. Imagine having the time and space to have hobbies. She waves the carrot around. Sure, one day we'll all have money, but we have to sacrifice a lot for it. We work so hard, Olivia adds, nodding along with the Amdram performance of a stage full of twats. You all deserve the world, Lyra says, right as I appear at her side with a round of shots. It's such a worthy profession. And I think she's been genuine, which is remarkable, given how they just laid into her passive-aggressively at best, blatantly at worst. Shots! The bride-to-be, Charlotte yells, appearing from elsewhere in the room, and rightly, taking the first glass. The second glass is taken by Lyra. She knocks it back unnoticed, not waiting for anyone else. I lean into her ear. Aren't you driving? I ask. Not that it's my business. I hear and see her sharp intake of breath. She turns her head so quickly, we're almost nose to nose. Damn, she smells so good. Pretty, sweet, like fresh flowers in a meadow. Subtle enough that I missed it beneath the smell of fish in the lift. One won't hurt, she tells me. Except, Lyra doesn't have one. As I'm fondled and ogled, she moves around the room taking pictures. I think, honestly, hiding behind the 2 cameras she rotates, I noticed her have at least 2 more shots. My guess is to take the edge off this it-girl party. Around 11:30, I extract myself from a woman called Donna. She's a 57-year-old retired GP from Whitley Bay, recently separated, best friend of the mother of the bride, who traces her gel nails around each of the tattoos on my biceps and chest with hooded eyes, like she's desperate enough to slum it for one night. As I'm walking away from her, under the pretense of making more drinks, she pinches my arse. I think you're onto a sure thing there. The voice belongs to Lyra, where she's come to lean back against the worktop in the kitchen next to me. She still has her camera around her neck, where it's been all night. More like a part of her than an accessory. I'll pass. I sound as grumpy as I feel, a monkey in a zoo. I'm ready to be done with this night. My enthusiasm for faking it is depleted, and given how drained Lyra seems to be, I don't feel the need to play the cheeky butler for her. I thought what happens on a hen is supposed to stay on a hen, I say, gesturing to her camera. That's what I thought. But the bride is a friend of my sister. An old friend of mine, too. She's an old friend. Could have fooled me. She looks to her feet, and I regret speaking my thoughts aloud. Yeah, well, my sister and Charlotte are both resident doctors at the RVI now, and I'm a wedding photographer. Much to my family's dismay, so... She shrugs. I was invited in my business capacity, not to help the bride bid goodbye to single life, or herald new beginnings. It's none of my business, and I don't want to add to anyone's misery. Especially this woman who helped me out earlier. Nor my own. So I check my watch. Thank fuck. It's 11:45. I'm off duty at midnight. This is a room full of medics, from junior doctors to consultants, so I don't think I'm going to capture too much scandal, she says, ignoring my observation. Although, I'm not heading out to the club from here. Who knows what trouble Donna and Jeanette will cause out on the town? I scoff. It's always the oldies. Horny as hell, Lyra says, making my lips turn up. It feels alien. I step outside onto the pavement, leaving the hens preparing for a nightclub. The cold, salty air is biting, and I pull my coat on over my bare chest. Almost silhouetted against the bright lights of the swing bridge, Lyra is standing alone, staring up to the sky as if she's asking the stars a question. She didn't seem drunk upstairs, but she's had too many units to drive. I don't know where she lives, but I do know she's had a pretty rough time tonight, so I ask her, do you need a lift home? She startles, her gaze landing on my chest, then moving to my face as I draw up the zip of my coat. No, thank you, I'm not actually sure how I'm going to get home and back to my car in the morning, but this is what happens when I make ill-judged, impromptu decisions. You're not going to drive? No. She's staring at my eyes so intently, it makes me wonder what she sees. A man barely above rock bottom? I'll walk to the taxi rank. It's only 2 minutes away. Where do you live? I ask, as she simultaneously asks me, do you wax your chest? I rear back from her question, caught off guard, as she slaps a hand across her mouth. I feel the faintest twist of amusement teasing my lips again. Far from the distant memory of happiness, but an improvement on resentment, bitterness, anger or regret. Sorry, that's really none of my business. Don't even answer that. She babbles in a way that makes me fight back a smirk. I live in a village near Beamish Museum, so I doubt you're going in my direction. She's much shorter than me in her trainers, and flustered in a way that's youthful. Lightness against my blackened mood. She's staring at me, again. Maybe because I'm staring at her, trying to figure her out for some reason. Your eyes twinkle more than the lights of the Millennium Bridge, she tells me. Which also tells me she is, in fact, feeling the effects of alcohol. The Millennium Bridge doesn't twinkle, I tell her. Okay, lyric police, she says, dragging me back from whatever hole she just had me in to reality. To being a lyricist, or at least in a past life. I want to get off the subject, so I change it. Why do you let them treat you like that? Who? She asks, brown eyes widening. Your sister and her friends? Why do you let them put you down? They don't. She looks down to her feet, and I want to nudge her chin up, but I put my hands in my pockets to stop me. Really? So you're telling me you're standing out here feeling good about yourself? She glares at me, her light dimmed by my words. Yeah, I have that effect on people. Didn't think so, I tell her. Why'd you let them get away with it? She swallows so hard. I know my question has hit home. It's complicated. Didn't look it. It looked to me as if they think they're better than you, and you don't set them straight.
You don't know anything about me?
She gripes indignantly, with surprising fire. I know you tried to distract me in that lift because you could see I'm claustrophobic. I know you care about the planet, and that you've driven out of your way tonight to be at a hen party you didn't want to be at, just to please your sister. Her nostrils flare, but she doesn't disagree. I've met people like them before, I tell her. People who want to put you down to make themselves feel good. They'll keep telling the same stories until you give them something else to talk about, until you change their narrative. I'm waiting for her to retort as she scowls at me. And I don't know why, but I like her feistiness. Something tells me she doesn't display it often enough. But before she responds, the door to Phoenix House opens, and the sound of animated chatter escapes. I glance the way of the other hens, but my face is turned back to Lyra, her palms holding my cheeks, as she crashes her mouth against mine. I feel my eyes widen as I wait for my synapses to catch up and send sensible messages to my brain. I meet her focused gaze, and in her look, I think she's asking me to play along, to help her out, to help her write a new song for her sister to sing about her. I hate bullies as much as I hate people who try to tell you who you are and who you should be. More than that, there's something in Lyra's kiss. Warmth, passion, desperation? Fuck knows. But it makes me bring my hands onto her hips and walk her backwards until her backside meets my parked car. God, maybe it's just been a while for me, because her taste, the feel of her mouth, her body, ignites something in me that I haven't felt for a long time. I grip her hip tighter, bringing my other hand to the base of her neck, fingers gently tugging her hair. Our tongues meet, slick and hot, making my eyes close. And when she groans into my mouth, I forget where we are, rolling my hips against her. The hens are whooping, bringing me back to the pavement, and I hear someone demand, "Lyra, what on earth?" But her words spur Lyra on. She slips her arms under my coat and pulls me hard against her. Jesus. This is as close to fucking as I've been for months.
Oh, leave the girl to it. Someone ought to enjoy him.
I'm sure that came from Donna. It reminds me of something one of my old bandmates used to say. It's always the older ones that want to throw the knickers at you. Just like that, I'm thrust back to reality, kissing a kind girl on a pavement so she can piss off her sister. Sensing the group move away, I open one eye to confirm, then prise myself away from Lyra's touch.
I guess you're right,
she whispers, eyes still closed, as she draws her thumb along her lips, in a way that makes me want to feel them on mine again.
I doubt the next story my sister tells will be about how her fiancé preferred her over me when we were teenagers.
And I guess this is who I am now, all I'm good for. Lyra gently lunges me away from her and peels herself off the car.
Sorry, that was,
I have no idea what she's going to say, and it doesn't matter. Gone are the days when a woman would be the one wanting to take me back to her place. And I've no business wanting to take this sweet girl anywhere.
Wrong of me,
she says.
And unlike me,
she's quick to add. No kidding.
I shouldn't have done it.
It's okay, I tell her. Words finally leaving me, as everything that just charged into my body drains. It's all part of the job.
Of course, right, because you're a...
She gestures from my head to toes.
Oh, God. Are you a hooker? A male gigolo? A prostitute? An escort? What is a naked butler?
In the wake of the charge, my dark mood returns. A joke is what I am. Just when I think tonight really can't possibly get any worse, I remember what I'm driving. Shaking my head at the utter farce of my life, I pull my keys from my pocket and watch the lights of my outrageous wheels flash twice. I don't wait to see Lyra's reaction to my car, which we've just been pressed up against, on loan from Dave's daughter, while she's travelling on a gap year. The Barbie pink Fiat 500.